This is the glory of New Rochelle. I'm your host, Norman Hauptmann. You get better every day. Today is an important show about the national program called Silent Meditation in Public Schools, and specifically New York. By the way, folks, every state in the United States permits or mandates minute of silence. They call it silent meditation. It has gone all the way up to the Supreme Court several years ago and been decided that it's perfectly permissible as long as the word prayer is not mentioned. In New York State, I'll read you now. Let me just show you what it says here. I already said it, so I want you to see it. Every state permits or mandates public school silent meditation. In New York State, it's Education Law 3029-A. And what that does is it enables and empowers the schools to provide the students, if they decide, that is the school, with silent meditation, 1 minute. Usually it's 1 minute at the desk. And I will read you the way the law is specified. In each public school classroom, the teacher in charge may, or if so authorized by the Board of Education, at the beginning of school upon every day, conduct a brief period of silent meditation with the participation of all the students assembled. The silent meditation authorized by subsection 1 of this Act is not intended to be and shall not be conducted as a religious service or exercise, but may be considered as an opportunity for silent meditation on a religious theme by those who are so disposed, or a moment of silent reflection on the anticipated activities of the day. The teacher doesn't say religious. The child can decide in her own seat, silently. As used in subdivision 1 of this section, the term participation shall be construed to permit seated participation and not to require any pupil to stand. So I say thank God for Law 3-29-A, 3029A. It's in place, it's active. Some of the states, by the way, mandate it. New York does not presently mandate it, it permits it. Now the benefits. What are the benefits? We're talking about generically benefits throughout the entire world for public school silent meditation. In New York, it's the same thing. I just cite the law. It calms the students. Calming the student is a big, big benefit. The students, through silent meditation, can reflect on how to handle challenges, like how to handle and how to deal with bullying. And that's important. It enables the student to become focused. And that's important, of course, because it gives that silent time where the student can focus. I have this to do, that to do. And later on, I'll read you a letter from Public School 191 in Brooklyn on what that focus means. Evidence has shown that silent meditation increases the grades. Evidence has shown that silent meditation generates greater respect for others. Now, here's a real slam dunk. There's a benefit to silent meditation that is so great that in itself, as a parallel benefit, would make moment of silence even greater. The child has the opportunity and is encouraged to go to her parent and say, "Mom, Dad, tomorrow I do silent meditation as we do every day. Give me something to think about." And that's what it is. It shows and grows a bond between parent and child. Now, if you want to see a brief professional video made in Public School 191, Brooklyn, go to momentofsilence.info. momentofsilence.info and Public School 191 in Brooklyn. I'm going to read some data that the staff of 191 has reported. I will now put on my $10 glasses. I've got some on order, but they're not arrived yet, so this will do for now. I will now read you New York City Department of Education, the Paul Robeson School, PS 191, District 17, Park Place, Brooklyn. It's dated November 6, 2013. The subject of the letter is Moment of Silence of the school. At Public School 191, Robeson School, we began Moment of Silence as a way to collectively reflect on what, who, and why we do what we do, both as educators and students. When we introduced it several years ago, student attendance was down, parent participation was low, and student achievement was not as climbing at the rate we wanted. Our students required a greater need to be listened to. Our students required new ways of dealing with emotions and crisis. They needed to become more contemplative. Contemplative pedagogy, as stated by Sharma, quote, is an antidote to content-based education tradition. It's all about increasing space in our minds, unquote. Since introducing Moment of Silence, it has become an ongoing transformative experience. The Moment of Silence provides students an opportunity to become more mindful and reflective of their experiences inside and outside of the classroom. The students have become more introspective in their writing and have a greater appreciation, empathy, and understanding of their peers and for characters within literature as a result of the practice of Moment of Silence. Students have also gained a greater understanding of educational objectives. Last paragraph. Much of the literature about moments of silence or reflection revolves around its constitutionality, specifically any religious connotations and applications. In 1983, the New York University Law Review states the argument in support of silent moments, and they say, quote, "They calm students at the start of the day," unquote, and, quote, "all that is required is a period of silence so students' conscience is affected because it is not possible to tell what any student is thinking." The Virginia school superintendent, Mr. Curzon, in 2011, stated that in her experience, a moment of silence has proved to be, quote, "a good classroom management tool because it works as a good transition, enabling students to pause, settle down, compose themselves, and focus on the day ahead, making for a better school day," unquote. Now, there's more to that. I can read that. There are 3 ways suggested to employ moment of silence as scholars and teachers. This is a little technical. They use the word epistemological value. Adopt silence as an epistemological value. I don't know what that means. Oh, it has to do with this. This simply has to do with remembering the limits of language, the limits that literary and cultural theorists have already helped us realize. In other words, the introspection meditation transcends the limits of language. That makes a lot of sense. 2, incorporate silence into our scholarship as a personal academic practice. By taking moments of silence, we learn to listen to what we are studying and really listen to what we are saying about it. And 3, we can incorporate silence into our teaching as a classroom practice. All of these practices support the improvement of teaching, learning, and emotional health. Emotional health, emotional health. I was a rambunctious, chaotic student. Likely, if I had been given moment of silence, I could have been on a higher level of participation in the real world of peace. I was an unpeaceful person. Many of the reasons for beginning the practice have ultimately borne fruit. Quantitatively, student attendance has steadily increased and parent engagement and participation has improved. The most dramatic results have been qualitative. Student behavior has improved throughout the school. Students observe smaller, personal moments of silence and reflection when they may be or about to be in crisis. That's very good. I'm glad to read that to you. And then the final paragraph, which I thought was earlier, it's this. There is no more obvious benefit to moments of silence and reflection than what they write. One second-grade student wrote about he wants to become a lawyer so that he may be able to bring some of his relatives from Mexico here to live in New York with him. So that's from the Public School 191, Paul Robeson. And that's Elsie Capolongo, Principal. Thank you, Elsie Capolongo, Principal. Now I'm endorsing moment of silence to you out there. If you're an educator, I recommend you go online and look at the law, which is the law I cited you earlier. All states permit or mandate moment of silence. If you're in New York State, this is the law. Each state has its own law. Of course, I may put this on YouTube, so it's going to be more than local. Consider moment of silence, and I recommend to install it in your school for the benefits that I cited. Now I'm going to read to you some letters from children who had good experiences with the moment of silence. A child writes, "During the moment of silence, I think of what my dad always said to me, is to never give up on your dreams and try to make it to the top." Can you beat that? Huh? Moment of silence is such an inspiration. And there's a letter here. Moment of silence, my vision of moment of silence is when you relax and see the beautiful world in positive form. These are the children. Respect the children. Now here's a quote from Christian John Baptiste. A moment of silence means to be quiet for those people who are killed in the wars. These people are fighting to save other people. They are special. I hope I didn't violate somebody's privacy. I thought that was some kind of public figure, but if I made a mistake, I'm sure it won't be tragic if I named a student. May I read another student letter here? My opinion is that children's abilities are underestimated. Moment of silence, what does it mean to me? Student letter. Every morning we observe a moment of silence. During the moment of silence, I think about my family. I also think about the good times we share together. I think about Red Lobster, the restaurant. Now, there's no name, so I'll be able to show you, but I'll hide the photo of the child, although it's actually on the public airwaves anyway. So here's the letter, and she wrote, see. This is wonderful. Here's another letter. So folks, if you're a parent and you have contact or potential contact, recommend to the Board of Ed and the school to put in the moment of silence. It's 1 minute at the desk, that's all. It's a law that authorizes it if you want it. You want to raise the kids a higher level. Oh, this one, he wrote it very unclearly. Well, let me read it to you. His name is Nathaniel. A moment of silence is time for your brain. It is time to stay still. You can remember stuff and what somebody said. It feels nice when everybody is quiet. Something else they wrote. There's another letter here, but I can't figure out what he says. So here, so educators, principals, superintendents, try it. Don't try it. Put it in permanently. But you always have the option to withdraw it. But let me tell you, the kids they'll just love it, and you'll see a benefit. Put in the moment of silence. 1 minute reaps multitudes of benefits. It gives dignity to the student. Here's what the pupil said. A moment of silence means to me not making a sound or even saying shh. We could have silence in the hallways and even in classes to avoid disturbing other people who are doing their work. We could have silence in lunch rooms. A moment of silence shows respect to others, teachers, and even you. A moment of silence is so big and grand that people old and young appreciate your quietness. Just imagine, you're the teacher. You have now decided to place moment of silence in the schools, in the classroom. You say, we will now have the moment of silence. 1 minute. Just imagine the brains and the minds and the hearts of the children focusing, thinking highly of themselves, admiring themselves correctly, saying, I'm good, I'm going higher, I'll respect that person who I was mean to. I'll be able to walk away silently from the bully and not engage him. I'll say good things. I won't be negative. That's what you want to do, and you're going to do it with moment of silence. A moment of silence means that I can think of the people in Trinidad, it's not a complete letter, who doesn't something. Sorry. Well, anyway, you know that this child is contemplating the people in Trinidad. How about this one? Moment of silence makes me feel, for example, it makes me feel good. Secondly, it makes me feel proud of myself. It makes me feel like I'm somebody. That's it. Dignity. If I had it in my school when I was a student. Lastly, it is for these reasons how I feel about the moment of silence. So what do you say, folks? You're going to promote it? You're going to promote moment of silence 1 minute a day? How many times does a teacher have to say, reprimand the students? Add up those seconds collectively. When the child has the 1 minute at the day, it will reduce the number of times that the teacher has to reprimand the students because they'll have gotten a elevation on how to behave better. So it's the benefits. The 1 minute a day is multiplied numerous folds, multiple times in benefits. Let's see what else I got. I think I ran out of pictures. Now, I had promoted Moment of Silence in the island nation of Haiti, and most or some of those schools have adopted it. And they sent letters of endorsement to the director. His name is Avraham Frank. He's in Brooklyn. But they sent it in French. So here's a picture of the Haitian students. And the principal sends me letters in French. I don't understand them. But they do Moment of Silence, and it improves in the ways that I cited earlier. Oh, here it is. This is a certificate in which some of the schools award individual students. It's called the Moment of Silence Certificate, a small thing that makes a big difference. In schools across the nation, a moment of silence is proving to be crucially beneficial in motivating children to feel positive about themselves and their involvement in creating a better world. This certificate acknowledges that such and such of PS 398 has composed a letter praising the Moment of Silence. This letter shall join other supportive letters to launch the Moment of Silence around the world and to comfort many students now and in the future. For this we thank and compliment you. It's signed by Avraham Frank, the director of Moment of Silence, and Diane Caban, principal, Public School 398. That's in New York City, but I don't know what borough. On May 18, 2012. Wonderful. And here is a letter I'll read you briefly. A principal writes this letter. As principal of Public School 125, I want to let you know about an innovative program introduced across the United States. It boosts academic achievement and personal development of many of our children. By the way, this letter is sent to a parent, I believe. While the positive outcomes are many, the effects are being felt far beyond what each student may accomplish during the school day. I feel it will benefit each child individually and our community as a whole, and I am writing this letter in hopes of enlisting your involvement to make it even more worthwhile. The program is simple, costs nothing to implement, requires no paperwork. It enhances the child's self-image and has a powerful positive effect on the child's schoolwork and life outside the classroom. Outside the classroom. Wow. And this is where you come in. I would like to encourage you to have an open discussion with your children about what they should contemplate during this brief moment of silence. So the principal is writing to the parents recommending or endorsing the program, and then asking the parents to ask the child what they should compliment next day. Just a few moments talking with your children about the things in life that are important to you will result in a greater degree of interaction within your family and positive reinforcement in both home and school. We're getting to the end of the show. We have seen in our school greatly improved reading scores and better overall attention during the day. And this is the principal of Public School 125. I'm sorry, I don't have their name here. Besides the academic benefits, these quiet moments allow children to reflect on our laws of justice and morality and what they need to become compassionate human beings and responsible citizens. I've said it all. Now it's up to you. I am hoping that in days to come you will take a few minutes out of your busy schedule to share your thoughts with your child. Parent-child Good idea? You bet. Government has a role. Parents has a bigger role. We're getting to the close of the show. We got 2 minutes. It has been my great pleasure to be a promoter of and endorser of Moment of Silence, an approved program in every state, mandated in other states. New York State education law, as I gave to you, you saw it before. Some people even have moment of silence at home, but that's not what I'm endorsing mainly. It's the public school, the potential for chaos. So therefore the silent reflection is an antidote. It shows you that the process of words and language is expanded correctly through the silence of meditation. We're getting to the real close of the show. My name is Norman Hauptmann. This is the glory of New Rochelle. You get better every day. I want to show you something unrelated. This is a book. A friend of mine wrote this book. It's not a profound book in terms of it being a bestseller, but it's a book about his life. And this young man attempted suicide. He's alive. He hurt his foot. And as he was halfway down the bridge, he opened his eyes. He said, I shouldn't be doing this. I met him in Israel. So when we give moments of silent reflection to ourselves or through our schools to the student body, we dignify the student, we elevate their thoughts, we bring them to a focus that they want to live, to accept the challenges of life. That's what we need to do. Schools are doing it. We would recommend your school doing it. Choose life, it says in the Bible. And choosing life is through the silent process of meditation, to know where you are. Choose life, raise yourself higher. Be part of what works. I think we got about 30 seconds. I'm glad for the City of New Rochelle providing public access TV, Channel 75, New Rochelle Cable, 7 p.m. Sundays. This is the glory of New Rochelle. You get better every day.